We have Rampage coming out here real soon, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and it promises to be a high-budget Sharknado or something. I don't know, but I'm kind of looking forward to this movie, so I thought in honor of that, I'm going to rank my top 5 favorite mindless monster movies. What are yours? Welcome to Durbania, I'm Durbin, and this is my ranking of my top 5 favorite mindless monster movies. I'm super excited to dive into this list because monster movies are just pure fun. And I think that's what they're meant to be. They could definitely be used as vehicles to take a look at the deeper parts of human nature, what's really the monster, or the human being. So yeah, you can have a lot of fun with monster movies like that. But overall, I think the purpose of the monster movie is to release the inner child inside of each and every single one of us. You know, the one that can watch a movie like this with the eyes of innocence, without criticizing it, without critiquing it, without being a movie reviewer and going, well, this participle of this scene just was a reductive piece of literature. I don't know. I'm trying to use big words and I'm failing miserably. The point is, I think monster movies are all about don't be the critic, be the child, and have fun with this. So this is my top 5 favorite. Now, I have to do this honorable mention here up front because it didn't make my top 5, but they are some of my favorite movies, and they're one giant franchise that looks like they have no end. So for my honorable mentions, the entire Sharknado franchise. Whoever thought of this is absolutely brilliant. Because who would have ever thought sharks combined with tornadoes would be as epic as it is? You can't watch these movies alone. The reason is because it's just not as fun. Like, I have some friends, and we have Sharknado parties every year when the new Sharknado comes out. What makes Sharknado fun is having a party around it, some pizza, some wings, hanging out with some good friends, and laughing and enjoying everything that comes your way. I mean, you only need to see these movies once, then you don't need to see them again. But every time the new one comes out, I have my friends, we have our Sharknado party, and it's a flippin' blast, because that's what monster movies are about. So, all the Sharknado franchise, my honorable mention. Coming in for me at number 5. The Pacific Rim movies. More so the first one over the second one, but the second one is a lot of fun. The thing that's kind of fun about the second one is they have to be a bit more creative with the story. In other words, there kind of has to be one because the portal is shut down. How do the kaiju come back to be a threat? So we gotta come up with at least some sort of creative idea to make the kaiju a threat again when we've closed off that portal and there really should be no way they're getting through. So that makes the second one kind of interesting that there actually has to be somewhat of a story. But when I first watched the first Pacific Rim movie, I hated this movie. You know why? I was playing the movie critic in my own head. I didn't have this channel at this time, but I was playing the film critic. Well, this participle of this scene just was a reductive piece of literature. I forgot what a monster movie was for, and I criticized that thing up one wall and down the other while I was watching it. Now, when Pacific Rim 2 was coming out, I decided to do a theological analysis on the first Pacific Rim, but now my expectations were in the right place. And I remembered what movies like this are for. The sheer fun of it. The movie is not to be in existence for its realism or for its take on how will humanity act if this actually happens. No, that's not what this movie's about. You know what? You want to know what this is about? Giant monsters and giant robots fighting. Boom! Movie did that. Mission accomplished. The only way it would have failed that mission is if it had shaky cam and then we couldn't see the thing we're there for, like Transformers. I think I would love that franchise a lot more if there was no shaky cam. Because Transformers is the same thing, right? I think all their stories are dumb and all their stories are weak. But I get robbed whenever they do shaky cam and I can't at least see the one mindless thing I'm there to see, which is giant robots fighting each other. Pacific Rim gives me that. It keeps the camera steady and I can see the action and I can watch giant robots and giant monsters fighting each other. I love it. It's sheer mindless fun. Comes in at my number 5. Number 4, Godzilla. And I'm looking at the most recent one. This one would fall up higher on my list, but it has one sin against it. It's like a 2.5-hour movie with 11 minutes of Godzilla. He's the title character and he's in here for 11 minutes. I think overall it's a well-made movie. And it's good. I think the cast is good. I mean, it's interesting to see Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver be married in this movie rather than brother and sister. And then we go see Age of Ultron and they're brother and sister. Anyway, when you put that aside and you don't think about it too much, it is a really good cast. I mean, come on. Bryan Cranston in this movie. They kill him off pretty soon, too. Gosh. But the biggest sin this movie has is we spent too much time focusing on the human drama. We don't need that. Why? You and me, we're humans. We know human drama. We're not there for that. We're there for monster drama. The Mutos are cool. They do a good job of all of that. They do a good job, showing us the Mutos, showing us their background, and making their whole backstory intriguing. What they don't do a good job of is showing Godzilla and these Mutos fighting. The first time they meet, we get this epic introduction. Godzilla's foot comes down, camera pans up, he roars, and it's awesome. Cuts away to a news report. And so, we missed the whole fight because we had to cut to human drama, cut to the news report. They're fighting in San Francisco. We get moments of epicness, but it kept cutting away. I don't care about what the humans are doing. Show me enough to know they're going to blow up the nest. Fine, but my gosh, when the Muto and Godzilla are fighting, show me that. Because how epic was it when his fins or his spikes or whatever they are light up blue and he shoots his atomic breath out at the Muto? How epic is it at the end when he grabs the thing by the mouth, opens its mouth and blows the atomic breath in there and disintegrates its neck and rips its head off? Gosh, that stuff is absolutely epic. So Godzilla's biggest sin is it didn't give us more of that. I feel like when you're doing a monster movie, that's what you need. You need more monster fighting. So they did a lot showing us the Mutos, but not a lot showing us Godzilla. Otherwise, though, like I said, it's a good movie. Number 3, Underworld. And I'm using the first movie here to represent the entire franchise because this is a monster movie because vampires are monsters. Werewolves are monsters. This is vampires and werewolves, aka lichens, stuck in their eternal struggle, warring against each other. And oh yes, these movies are mindless. Oh, they are so mindless. But how awesome is it when Michael Corvin has vampire blood and lichen blood in him, and he goes up against my favorite vampire villain, Bill Nighy, Victor, and they just fight. How epic is that? How sad is it that he loses, but then how epic is it when Celine fights him and it goes back to being epic? These are fantastic monster movies where it's just monsters versus monsters. Human drama, whatever, it's there. I mean, they look human, so we get enough of that in their faces. Otherwise, it's great to have mindless movies where it's vampires versus lichens. Number 2, Kong, Skull Island. This one surprised me. I was surprised by how much fun I had with it. I was going into this movie prepared to let go. I was going into this knowing it's in that Godzilla universe going, are you guys going to do this again? You're going to call this Kong and he's going to be in here for 11 minutes of a 2.5 hour movie? And I was so happy they didn't do that. There was a lot more monster fights in this. They did some epic fighting scenes with that. But the human drama, I didn't mind it so much. Why? Tom Hiddleston, you had Brie Larson, and you had Samuel L. Jackson. There's a huge chunk of the MCU in this movie. You can almost sit back and pretend, oh man, this must be an Avengers movie. This must be Loki pretending to be human, and this must be right before Brie Larson becomes Captain Marvel, and this is definitely before Sam Jackson loses his eye. But, he dies in this movie, so you can't quite go all the way with it. But it's really fun to watch that and to see that, and all the characters are good. John Goodman, man, I was disappointed when he got eaten. Because he was a fun character. He was a bad guy that you love to hate. Well, he was sort of a bad guy. He was like a likable bad guy. But he was... Is he a bad guy? No. Yes. No. Who cares? John Goodman was great in this, and I enjoyed it. So, they had a great cast. The cast had a great chemistry. John C. Reilly surprised me with how much I enjoyed his character and how much I enjoyed his role and how much he added to the chemistry of this cast. Kong, Skull Island, to me, is a prime example of the great balance between having the human drama and a good human cast and a monster movie and having monsters fight each other. Because they did a better job with Godzilla. They had more of Kong and more Kong fighting giant monsters and a really great cast with strong chemistry. Coming in for me at number 1, The Mist. I'm cheating with The Mist because I said my top 5 favorite mindless monster movies. The Mist is not mindless. But when I was going on Google and I was looking up monster movies so I could look at lists of monster movies and kind of narrow this down to my top 5, not only did The Mist keep popping up in those lists, but The Mist just kept popping up again and again and again in my head. Thank you, Cody Leach, for that, because he recommended this movie to me, and I watched it. I did a theological analysis on it, and it's good, man, and it's deep. But it has the same thing going on that Kong has. It has a fantastic cast. It has a cast that all has a great chemistry together. The fact that they're all locked in this grocery store when a mist arrives and there's monsters in this mist, how are humans reacting when the pressure's on? How do humans react, where they grew up based on what they put in their hearts? I don't know. I mean, it's about how are these human beings acting when the pressure is on? And so, like, that's a really interesting look and study at humanity. So I think they did a fantastic job with that. The monsters, I like that they kept them shrouded in the mist. I mean, you got glimpses of them, and then you had the bug-like ones that reminded you, like, of the plagues of Egypt and stuff, but I think they did a really good job keeping it all shrouded in mystery, so the monsters, like, were in your imagination, which makes them a bit more scary. So the mist was really fun. It was really smartly written. I'm not going to say anything else because any comment I could have about the ending or anything, I think would blow it. So if you want it blown, you can check out my theological analysis where I definitely do all the spoilers. I'm not going to do that right now. But I think that movie was smart. I think it was smartly written and it was smartly done. So your turn. What are your top 5 favorite mindless monster movies? Let's talk about it in the comments. And while you're there, also let me know, are you excited to see Rampage with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? And also, hit that subscribe button. That way you're notified the next time I drop a movie review, a theological analysis, like coming up on Saturday. I'm doing a theological analysis for Avengers Age of Ultron, which is actually part 2 of the road to Thanos, this series that I'm doing, building up to the release of Infinity War. I'm excited about that, man, and that's going to be an epic video. So make sure you hit the subscribe button so you're notified when that drops this coming Saturday, and all kinds of other great videos that I do here. Also, check out my part 1 of Avengers, a theological analysis into the Avengers, and Loki's part in preparing the road for Thanos. So check all of that out. I'm Durbin. Thanks for checking out Durbania.